Who are you, really? Are you the name you were given at birth, the roles you play in life, the sum of your experiences? Or are you something deeper, something more fluid, something that refuses to be confined by the limits of definition? From the moment you became aware of yourself, you began constructing an identity, piecing together fragments of how others see you, what society expects of you, and the stories you tell yourself. Over time, these fragments harden into something that feels unshakably real, something you cling to as if it were the truth. But what if it isn't? What if the person you believe yourself to be is nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion? A mask that changes depending on where you are, who you're with, what you think you should be. You say, "This is just who I am." But is that really true? Or is it just a story you've been telling yourself for so long that you've forgotten it was ever a choice? The self is not fixed. It is not an immovable object. It bends, it shifts, it adapts. And yet, you trap yourself in an idea of who you think you should be, terrified of what it means to let go. You have spent years defining yourself, only to realize that those definitions have become chains. Every time someone praises you for being responsible, you feel like you can never let yourself be reckless. Every time someone calls you strong, you bury your weakness so deep that even you forget it exists. Every time you try to change, an invisible force pulls you back, whispering that you're being fake, that you're betraying yourself, that you're losing something essential. But what if the only thing you're losing is an illusion? Think about it. How much of who you are is truly you? How much of your personality, your habits, your beliefs are things you consciously chose? And how much of it was shaped by the people around you? You were told who you were before you even had the chance to decide for yourself. You were praised for being one way and scolded for being another. You learned what was acceptable and what wasn't, what parts of you were worthy of love and which ones needed to be hidden. And slowly, without realizing it, you built yourself according to a blueprint that was never truly yours. You are not one thing, you never have been. The version of you that exists today is not the version that existed 5 years ago, and it won't be the version that exists 5 years from now. And yet, you hold on to this fleeting, ever-changing idea of self like it's the only thing keeping you grounded. You convince yourself that your thoughts define you, that your past defines you, that how others see you defines you. But they don't. They never have. You are not the mistakes you've made. You are not the expectations placed upon you. You are not the judgments whispered behind your back. You are not even your own thoughts, because thoughts are unreliable, ever-changing. One day you feel capable, the next you don't. One moment you believe in yourself, the next you're drowning in doubt. Your thoughts contradict themselves. They shift with your mood, with your surroundings, with the smallest change in circumstances. And yet, you believe them. You let them dictate who you are, how you act, how you see yourself. But why? If your thoughts are constantly changing, how can they possibly be a foundation for your identity? You could wake up tomorrow and decide to be someone entirely different. You could shed everything you thought made you who you are, and the world would keep turning. People would adjust. You would adjust. And yet you resist. Not because you can't change, but because change feels like death. Because the thought of losing the identity you've spent years building is terrifying. But here's what no one tells you. There is freedom in letting go. There is freedom in realizing that you don't have to be who you were yesterday, that you don't have to be limited by your past, by the expectations of others, by the narrative you've been trapped in, that you don't have to explain yourself, justify yourself, or prove that you are the same person you were before. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to contradict yourself. You are allowed to evolve. The self is not a prison. It is not a life sentence. It is not something you are doomed to carry forever. It is a story that you are writing with every passing moment. And the best part, you can rewrite it. You can tear out pages, start over, reinvent yourself as many times as you want. There are no rules. The only thing keeping you from becoming something new is the fear of letting go. But the truth is, letting go is the only way to truly live, because the self is an illusion. And the moment you stop trying to hold on to it is the moment you become free. If you enjoy this type of content, please like, share, and subscribe.